If you're applying for EPCG, you've probably come across the term Nexus certificate and wondered what exactly it means.
Don't worry, it's much simpler than it sounds, and in this video we'll break it down in plain business language. In simple terms, Nexus means connection. Under EPCG, it asks one basic question: how does this imported machinery connect to what your business actually makes or exports? That connection usually runs in a simple chain. Machinery supports production, production creates output, and output supports domestic supply or exports. So when people say Nexus certificate, they are really talking about proving that technical link between the machine and the business activity. If the machine clearly fits into your manufacturing or export process, the idea of Nexus becomes much easier to understand. Authorities ask for Nexus because EPCG benefits are meant for capital goods that genuinely support business production or export activity. They want to see that the machinery is not random. It should fit the production process in a practical and technically understandable way. That usually means the machine should help create, process, handle, test, or improve the output your business depends on. If the link is weak, unrelated, or hard to explain, the documentation becomes harder because the business purpose is not obvious. So the real test is simple. Does this machinery logically support what the company produces and how it earns through that activity? Let's take a simple example. Imagine a paper manufacturing company importing a machine used for pulping, sheet forming, drying, or finishing paper.
That is a strong nexus because the machine directly supports the process of making paper that the company sells or exports. Now compare that with equipment meant for an unrelated activity that does not connect to paper production at all.
In that case, the link is weak because the machinery is not tied to the company's actual production flow or export output. A Nexus certificate usually describes the type of machinery being imported and what that machine is meant to do. It then explains the machine's role inside the production process, not just its name on a purchase document. For example, it may show whether the equipment is used for processing, quality control, material handling, finishing, or another production function. The certificate also helps show how that role supports the company's actual business activity and output. So it is not just a machine list, it is a business and technical explanation of why the equipment belongs in that operation. Clarity becomes even more important when a project includes multiple machines working together across one production line. It also matters when the production flow is complex and one machine supports another stage instead of producing the final output by itself. The same is true during expansion, when added equipment increases capacity, and during modernization, when new technology upgrades an existing process. In these situations, a simple machinery to production to output explanation helps everyone understand the technical link faster. The more moving parts you have, the more valuable a clear Nexus story becomes. A fresh or updated Nexus may be needed when the machinery list changes after the original plan. It can also matter if the project scope changes, especially when the production setup no longer matches the earlier explanation. If equipment is added, removed, replaced, or rearranged in a way that affects the production link, the Nexus story may need updating too. The key point is simple. When the machinery changes, the supporting explanation should stay aligned with reality.
One common mistake is showing a weak connection between the machine and the actual production or export activity.
Another is using vague descriptions that name the equipment but do not clearly explain its role in the process.
Problems also come up when the documents say one thing, but the machinery list, project details, or actual use suggest something different.
Clear wording, consistent documents, and a believable technical link can prevent most of these issues. So in the end, EPCG Nexus is simply about proving that imported machinery is logically connected to your business activity.
The clearer the connection, the smoother the documentation process,